Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is my favorite Guardian on the Citadel, Josh Finney.
I'm so happy that this joke got to come back.
I know.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that message. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
I got to make it again, everybody.
I'm so happy that this is happening. My personal bullshit detector was going off when I saw this because Liana Rupert was like, yeah, I had the TWAB written for this a year ago.
Oh.
And I've been waiting to use all these jokes, and my guess is that some of those were still used because Bruno, the Latin America CM, who's still there, said basically implied that he had access to what she had written.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, we get this collaboration after Liana's been let go, and that's a bummer. That and the Witcher collab both came after she was let go. Mm-hmm. It's I can't think of a better person to want to champion those particular crossovers. It felt like ones that the studio was actually excited to do, as opposed to we're doing this for money.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fairly distressing.
Yeah. It also fits in a weird way.
Yeah, it does. I mean, God, another much maligned studio.
It's not.
It's falling apart and is a shell of their former selves.
Oh, I just meant it's a sci-fi game, and not trying to shove Assassin's Creed into my Destiny.
Oh my God! Yeah, never forget the Saint 14 armor set in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! It's so cool.
That and the Final Fantasy 15 crossover quest that was in, or was it 15 or was it remake? I think it was remake.
No, it was 15. It was 15.
It was both because I got the Buster Sword in Origins. I got the Buster Sword out of a big ass pyramid. It was weird. Anyways, also another really weird crossover. Just God, but Mass Effect just makes sense in this universe. We'll talk about Mass Effect a little bit later. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. It's actually low key kind of a busy show.
Oh man, yeah, this is man.
It's Corey's last show for 2 weeks, guys.
I know. Oh man, I'm so excited for vacation. You have no idea.
He's only missing 1 week for us.
Yeah,
but 2 weeks off of producing and making content.
Yeah. Well, man, after this video that I put out the other day, I'm
bossies.
Yeah, I'm fucking done.
Yeah. Speaking of videos that were put out on Wednesday to much fanfare, we got a State of Play, Corey.
We did. It
was actually good. I'm shocked. I've never walked away from a State of Play going, damn, that was really good. Damn, that was really good. They addressed my exact concerns and complaints about State of Plays. They spent a lot of time on their big name titles, and we got some pretty big third-party reveals. Let's see. We saw Stellar Blade, which is the first AAA from what's the studio name? Now I got to Google this on the fly Blade. Because I look like a scrub. Shift Up. Shift Up. If you don't know them, they make gacha games. This was originally supposed to be a multi-platform game when it was known as Project Eve. This game was revealed all the way back in 2019. And then it was kind of rebooted, and in 2020 we saw it again, but with no platforms listed. And then in 2021 we finally saw it again. They just they keep showing it at events, and I just kind of thought this was elaborate vaporware.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly massive on this game. I don't think that it's going to be bad, but this is one of those, either it's going to be pretty good or it's going to be hot garbage.
Yeah.
But Shift Up, yeah, they make gacha games, such as I think it's Nikkei, which big titty anime girls essentially with guns.
Yep.
That's basically the premise of Nikkei. Yeah. I know one person who plays it, and that's coincidentally one of 2 people in my life who are excited for this game, if that tells you anything. The other is our dear friend Ray, who is very excited for this. He loves anything that's Devil May Cry style. So this could be good. It could be total trash. What else? We saw Rise of the Ronin. really like the first time we've seen gameplay. Never like really a great sign when you're seeing gameplay for the first time 6 weeks out from a game coming out.
Yeah.
But looks kind of rad. All it did was really make me want Ghost of Tsushima 2 even more.
Yeah, that's what we talked about yesterday. I thought, man, this sure looks like a Dollar General Ghost of Tsushima.
It's funny that like we're saying that, but like it's Team Ninja and it's Koei Temco, so like that alone is enough like to get me to like buy in. I don't know if it'll be a day one purchase because Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out the same day, which God that game looks just. Could this be our first real game of the year contender?
I don't know. I
I
have zero interest in Dragon's Dogma.
That game looks absurdly good. Listen, it's medieval fantasy, it's monster hunting. I'm fucking here for it. This is exactly my type of game. I'm very excited to play it. I've dabbled in the first one. I'm ready to play the second one. Man, looks great. We saw Kojima and Friends. Kojima was there.
Shocker.
Death Stranding 2 looks fucking weird.
Yeah. Well,
but like that genuinely, like that and Hellblade are like the two most impressive games I've ever seen.
The Decima engine, man, does some impressive things.
The Decima engine, but like also just like Kojima's always been this way. Like he's always like pushed things to their limit. I love how you can see the little puppet that's hanging on Sam's waistband is deliberately, the frame rate on that is manipulated so it looks like stop motion. That is just such a cool effect.
Yeah.
I want to use Troy Baker's guitar gun really badly. If I got to play with that, I'd be way more interested in Death Stranding as a franchise. Because it doesn't do anything for me personally. I will watch people play this game though, because I have a few friends who are very excited and will be streaming this. I'm excited to watch them enjoy it. It's not a me game. The first game did not appeal to me at all. I just want more Metal Gear. Kojima's secret project that he announced has me way more excited.
That seems like his spiritual successor to Metal Gear, if anything.
It's absolutely gonna. He said it's the culmination of his 40 years in the industry.
God, 40 years, man.
That is probably the first PS6 game that has been announced. I would put a ridiculous amount of money down that game is like a 2028 title.
Oh, anything that's announced now is not coming out this generation. Sorry, everybody. Sorry for
unless we're seeing like actual gameplay from it. Yeah. But this one, like, because he's got Death Stranding 2, which is a 2025 game. I was really surprised they did that big of a deep dive into a 2025 game and didn't save that for the summer showcase.
Yeah.
But PlayStation's always been it's Kojima, like they'll just drop it whenever. I think maybe they were worried about the agreement that they've made with him leaking out, because he says he'll be taking full advantage of not just their game engine, with Decima, but he'll be taking advantage of their audio and film divisions as well, because he wants to blur the line between game and movie, and that's what he's been trying to do with Death Stranding. And that's the coolest part about Death Stranding to me, is I really love watching all that. And like that's how Metal Gear kind of got towards the end too, with Guns of the Patriots and Phantom Pain. There were just such lengthy cutscenes. It was like you were watching a movie.
Yeah. And
we know that's what he's trying to do with OD as well.
Yeah.
That one though, like we know that one's a little bit further along. I would say that's probably like a cross-gen game, depending on when the next Xbox comes out. But the one that they announced with Sony, that is 100% fully a next generation game. You're not playing that on a PS5. I'll be absolutely shocked. But this dude has 6 projects in development. He's got 3 games, and then he's making the Death Stranding movie with A24. There's a documentary about him coming from Disney, or that's already on Disney, I think.
If it's not there, it's coming soon.
If it's not there, it's coming real soon. And then I believe there's a Japanese studio that's doing a documentary on the making of Death Stranding 2. So just, man, this dude just like, he just calls up his friends and is like, hey, I want to make games. Part of me wonders if this deal got struck with Sony also after, because it famously went around for about a year before the deal with Microsoft was confirmed, that he had wanted to make it with Sony and Sony said no because they thought it was too weird. They're like, no, we don't really want that. But also like now it's coming up, oh, he really needed like cloud computing and things like that. Like it was probably his Stadia game he was making. Kojima's always been big on like experimenting with tech too.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like this was like them going, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like one of our absolute biggest collaborators that's not in-house is working with like our arch nemesis who does not have a foothold in Japan and is desperately trying to get one.
Yeah.
We should lock this dude down. And also, like, Sony will just write a blank check for that, I think. And whereas, like, Microsoft is like, we just spent $75 billion on Activision. You're not getting a blank check from us for a second game.
We need that.
I that's really cool, though. That's really cool. There is the possibility that it's Kojima's final game, too.
Man.
By the time that comes out, he's going to be over 60, maybe well over 60.
Maybe.
Because next year is 40 years in the industry for me. He is already 60. He's already 60 years old.
That's unbelievable.
He looks like he's like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 60. So I just cannot imagine that he makes games too. I mean, this dude's gonna make games until the day he dies, probably. But
Yeah, sure.
I could very well see if that next game is like 5-6 years away, which it clearly is at least that.
Mm-hmm.
He's at least mid-60s. I could see that being his swan song. You got guys like Todd Howard saying that they don't know how many they got left in them, and he's like just turning 50.
Yeah.
Then I don't know how many more Kojima has, and Kojima, like, you know, he pushes the boundaries a lot more than most in this field.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just look at how Metal Gear like predicts various trends and things that are going to happen in the future and whatnot repeatedly through its games and its themes. But also like how Metal Gear Solid really was like the first stealth game.
Right.
You know, he created an entire genre, and now he wants to like reinvent that again. You know, and he's like how he's trying to do with Death Stranding. Like, it hasn't really caught on yet, but I think it's starting to with indie games. I think they're starting to take that approach. Sable is one that I think really took that, like, a non-combat approach.
Mm-hmm.
So, or at least like bare minimum combat, I guess I should say. So there's some really cool things going on. Every time he does something, even if it's something that doesn't appeal to me like Death Stranding, it's still so fascinating to see how his mind works.
Yeah.
So I'd rather spend 10 minutes exploring Kojima's mind than 10 minutes on Stellar Blade or Silent Hill. I can't say Silent Hill with a straight face. That was like the truly weak thing about this show, I think, was Silent Hill.
Yet everybody seemed excited because it's a free game that you can play.
They were excited, and then I have seen nobody talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like once they could download it, they didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's that good.
Yeah.
Also, they were like, Silent Hill 2 remake, and then made by Bluebird Team. God damn it! The fact that they put out a combat video for Silent Hill 2 tells you all you need to know about it.
Yeah.
I'm not jazzed. Silent Hill never did anything for me as a kid. There was literally one good Silent Hill game. It was Silent Hill 2. They've been trying to chase that magic for like 25 years. I saw somebody be like, oh, this is just trying to be PT. It's like, no shit. PT was supposed to be a Silent Hills game, guys. Like, come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing here, internet nephews? What are we doing? Judas, we saw Judas. Ken Levine is finally back with a new game.
Yeah.
Don't know how I feel about that. He fired 90% of Irrational Productions after BioShock Infinite came out. There's no Rod Ferguson coming to save this game either. So really curious to see how this is, because BioShock Infinite doesn't turn out the way it does without Rod coming in to save the day. BioShock 2 was kind of a catastrophe. And, I mean, BioShock 1 was good, but, like, that was 18 years ago? 16, 17 years ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
2007, I think. 2007, 2008 is when it came out, I think. I don't know. I'm interested in this game, but I got to see a lot more.
Yeah. It's, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about it, to be honest.
You don't have anything to say about it. Got it. And then Helldivers 2. I'm all the way here for Helldivers 2. $40. I will absolutely buy that day one and play it.
Yeah, that's like the most interesting thing to me at this thing.
I mean, it's the one game that I was absolutely guaranteed to buy.
Yeah.
Because like I'm interested in, like I said, I'm interested in Rise of the Ronin, but I kind of just want Tsushima 2, which I'm pretty sure is going to be a headliner at the summer show this year. I just really want more of that world. I think Jin is such a compelling character. And I know nothing about the characters in this game. And it was like, oh, I saw the glider, and I was like, God damn, I really wish I had a glider in Ghost of Tsushima. Like, you see how big that fucking world is? I really wish I had a glider here.
Everyone's getting a glider.
The horse mechanics are so good, though, that I didn't care. I kind of hoped that we would get like a New Game Plus announcement for Spider-Man 2.
Didn't they say that was coming?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like this would have been like a shoe-in event to show that or show some DLC. I don't know. It was, I think it was way better than previous State of Plays, like because we got such an in-depth look at 3 or 4 different games.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big deal to me. They showed some VR titles, which normally I don't really care about the VR, but the VR games they showed were kind of cool.
They showed a new Metro game, right?
Yeah, the Metro VR game is the first thing that I've seen that's made me go, all right, I may need to start thinking about getting a PSVR 2 down the line. But Sony doesn't support it, so why would I want to?
I know.
That I told her I was watching it with Ray, and I was like, hey, I need you to buy this game for the next time I come to visit so I can beat it in like one sitting. He was like, done. Done. I'll get it for you. So you know what would get me to buy PSVR, Corey, is if they made Luminous for PSVR.
Oh God.
I know they made Tetris Effect for it, and that is actually really rad. I have had a chance to play that.
Yeah. Tetris Effect is amazing anyway.
Tetris Effect is great. I own it on 2 different platforms.
Yeah, me too.
I own it on Xbox because it's one of my comfort games, and then I have it on my Switch.
Yep. It's exactly where I own it.
So yeah, I mean, pretty good presentation. PlayStation fans, lots to be excited about if you like the PlayStation ecosystem, I think. And they had a little something for everybody, I think, from their first party studios, which was really important. Well, not necessarily studios, but their partnerships. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, let's face it, Final Fantasy Rebirth is the biggest game of the first half of the year.
Yeah, that's getting its own state of play on the 6th, right?
Yeah, that's getting its own state of play, which I was a little surprised they're going to do a state of play just for that. I was like, really? Like, I would have thought you wanted that here at this presentation, the one that everyone is watching, to remind you, like, hey, in 4 weeks we're launching the biggest game of Q1, Q2. You know. Also, please ignore that Rise of the Ronin and Dragon's Dogma 2 are coming out on the exact same day.
Yeah, but one's an exclusive and one's multiplat. I think, I don't know.
I think they're both going to be good. So, yeah.
I mean, if you're interested in both, I'm pretty sure people are going to buy both.
Also, April is so empty that you could easily play one of those and then go to the other.
Yeah,
which I feel like is what's going to happen. We really don't know too much what that's coming this year beyond Hellblade, maybe like the latest release date that we have. Stalker,
I think.
Stalker, yeah. We don't know a whole lot about second half. We just know there are games coming in the second half. That's about all we know. Like everyone's kind of in this holding pattern, I think, waiting to see what Nintendo does.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you probably won't know that until June.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
So if it's a September release for Switch 2, you're probably finding out in June.
Yeah, man, that's where all my money's going this year. That and Game Pass, because I'm moving, so that costs money. But
yeah, it keeps underscoring like how nice it is to like have all that as part of the sub for right now. I will say that, you know, Xbox physical games are like going by the wayside. I was in a GameStop earlier today, and I know there's been a lot of talk about like, oh, how Target doesn't have much anymore. Walmart is zeroing them out. Like even GameStop is looking pretty slim pickings for Xbox gamers. And Matt Piscatella chimed in on this. We love Matt, by the way. He used to work for NPD, and now he works for Circana. And he is their video games analyst, and he was like, yeah, this should come as no shock to anybody. He's like, Xbox was already trending digitally, and he's like, last year they went like almost all purchases for Xbox were like, they were already pretty high digitally, and then he's like, they're up to like 90% now digital. Yeah. He says, you know, we saw this with PC gaming years ago, especially with the rise of Steam, and he's like, Xbox is there now. He says PlayStation is not going to be far behind.
Yeah.
He's like, that's why these you know, manufacturers are planning for all digital next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo seems to be like the one, and I think Nintendo can be the holdout because they're just kooky like that. But even then, like most people I know who have Switches, unless you have, and here's the thing, like a lot of us who have Switches have multiple in the same house, and that's why we're still buying physical games. Um, if we only had one Switch in the house, I'd be buying all digital. Like I have multiple friends who, hilariously enough, the Switch is their primary digital platform at this point because of the portability factor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much all Switch except for like the games that I really love. At this point.
I'm like kind of I won't touch a third party game on my Switch unless it's like an indie that I can't get anywhere else. No, I'm playing that the absolute best resolution, the best frame rate I can get. I'm playing that on my OLED. I'll continue playing all my Nintendo games, obviously, but like something like Prince of Persia, for instance, like that, I want the 4K. I want the high frame rates. I want it all. I want it all. Even though it's a Switch ass game, I want it. I want it all.
Did you see? Did you see, by the way, that some WalMarts had Prince of Persia for $10?
No, I did not. Now that makes me mad because I want to go check my Walmart.
Yeah.
Hang on, we're gonna pause the episode so I can run the Walmart. It'll only take me 45 minutes there and back. No, now I really want to go check. I heard they're zeroing out Xbox games though, like as low as like $3. So I kind of want to go check and see if I can get a physical copy of Starfield to put on my shelf.
Yeah,
but Corey, this is Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast.
It is. We actually have a lot of exciting things to talk about in Destiny.
Some exciting, some that I'm less jazzed about. I guess let's start with the big
one. Joe Blackburn leaving.
Joe Blackburn. We find out last night, 5:00 Central Time. A tweet shows up on my timeline saying that Joe Blackburn is stepping away from Bungie, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And sure enough, Joe Blackburn is leaving Bungie.
So crazy, man.
This is absolutely bonkers. I want to pull up Joe's Twitter statement because I want to make sure that I read this correctly, and I don't mince words here. Next month, the final shape will be hitting one of its most critical internal milestones, a ritual we call the end-to-end playtest. This ritual has been a key part of development since Forsaken. It's multiple days of consecutive internal playtesting that not only generates incredibly valuable closing feedback on everything coming this summer, but also spiritually kicks off a shift towards bug fixing and polish work. Heading into this milestone, I've gotten to play hundreds of hours of the final shape, and what the world-class talent here at Bungie has created has quickly become of the things I'm most proud to have worked on throughout my career. That statement to me says a lot because Joe has never been somebody I think that like hypes things up. He's just like, yeah, I think you're really going to enjoy this. This is a guy who you have to remember started out on the Raids team. Mm-hmm. Like this is one of the architects of like Wrath of the Machine, of King's Fall, of he's been around since then. He was when he got promoted. One of the things that we were most excited about was he was the architect of the Prophecy Dungeon. That stuff had me really excited for where the story and the campaign design could go and whatnot, especially the story. But then he follows it up. So we're halfway through the thread. He follows it up and he goes, "This ritual will be especially meaningful to me personally, as it will also serve as a moment to pass the torch of Destiny 2 Game Director to the next era of leadership as I head on to a new adventure outside the walls of Bungie. As we hit end-to-end next month, Tyson Green will take the reins as D2 Game Director. If you've followed Bungie for any length of time, you've heard his name. From Halo PvP to the creation of exotic weapons in Destiny 1, Tyson has been a critical part of Bungie's legacy since Myth 2. As a deeply invested Guardian before starting here at Bungie, getting to be a part of the Destiny 2 team has been the privilege of a lifetime. I am and will forever remain a lifelong Bungie fan and believer in what the teams within its walls are capable of. I've still got some time before I pass the torch, but as I look forward to taking a big break from social media, I know I'll see y'all around the tower. It's going to be great to play Destiny alongside all of you." Man, I don't want to hit the panic button. I don't think that I don't think that the sky is falling necessarily. I saw some people screaming about that, and there were even some jokes on our Discord about it. The sky is not falling, but the storm clouds are gathering.
Yeah.
We have speculated on this show that we think that there was some internal struggle with the firings, because Joe had just done that really heartfelt video responding to the very negative reception to the state of the game, and had busted out the notepad. We had all hailed what a great turning point that was for studio communications, and then not even 6 weeks later, they get hit with all those layoffs.
Right.
Um, and that we know that the call was made from above Joe, and this and that. The timing of this makes me think that he already had this lined up and he was planning to exit with the launch of the final shape. But I will always wonder, and I don't want to like throw anything out into the universe, but I will always wonder how much the events of last October played into this.
Yeah.
Before the delay and everything else. I'll always wonder if that was like kind of the thing. And he was like, well, I won't be here to see through final testing, but I will be here to make sure that, the base is ready to go. As far as his replacement, I get Tyson, by all accounts, seems to be a great promotion. I've seen a lot of both current and former Bungie employees very excited about that. He has been there longer than a lot of you listening to this have been alive.
Yeah, I mean, his first game was what, Halo 2, I think?
No, his first game was Myth.
Or Myth,
2.
I mean, not
Yeah,
Halo.
that was
Sorry.
a mid-90s game.
I was thinking of his title.
Yeah, he
major
but
title.
For those of you who want a little bit more of a deeper dive on Tyson, if you've watched any of Bungie's Vidocs ever, he's the dude in the hat.
He's the dude in the hat.
He shows up in a lot of stuff. He is very well known for being one of the multiplayer guys from the original Halo trilogy, but Forge was his baby in Halo 3. He was also the multiplayer lead for Halo 3 after Max Hoberman left. So that alone, and he also he also was the architect of Firefight. These are all very good things. As Joe said, he's one of the guys that was really behind the exotic suite of weapons. All of this is reason to be very, very excited. In terms of where the leadership is going, what's going on. This is a stabilizing thing to me. They're not hiring someone from the outside like Halo did and trying to bring them in to run things. They are committed to promoting people from within. And I also think it should not be discounted how meteoric Joe's rise was. Joe started after Destiny 1 came out, is when he started at Bungie. He went on to be the game director and is out before the 10-year saga is over. That is an insane rise, no matter how you look at it. We are losing someone really good. Liana was talking about this yesterday on Twitter and was saying that, players will never understand how much he fought for this community behind closed doors. He fought for the community. He fought for the studio. She was like, the people who work there are losing an incredible advocate. The community is losing a huge advocate. This is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal.
Yeah.
I have not seen a single person be happy about this. No matter how negative they are about Destiny, I've not seen a single person be happy about this. This does make me sit there and wonder, what does the future hold now?
This definitely makes me more worried about the future than I was, even though like we already kind of were worried anyway.
I don't know how much my like worry meter is going up here. I think it's kind of like just holding steady. Like I said, the storm clouds are gathering. The sky is not falling yet for me. I want to see how the first episode plays out before I start panicking.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Final Shape is on the level of Lightfall, then I think it's fair to start break glass in case of emergency, start hitting the panic button. It's got to be Witch Queen or better. We've discussed that, and Bungie knows that too. So it's Joe's last effort. He saw it through to completion. Now it's bug testing. Now it's becoming apparent why they needed that 3-month delay, because they weren't going to be able to get any. They were only going to be able to get a month of testing in versus like 3.5.
Yeah.
So they probably could have forced it at the end of February, but it would have come in super broken, I think. And I think they know this has got to be the most polished thing they've ever released.
Yeah.
This is like the equivalent of like when Starfield released and it was like the least buggy Bethesda game ever, but it still had bugs in it. That's basically what they're aiming for here. is like, just don't be a meme, don't be a meme, don't be a meme. That's got to be what's going through their heads right now. I can't imagine what this does to morale at the studio, though. Like, morale's already at an all-time low, and now you're losing the leader who fought for you.
Right. Oh, man.
My favorite response was, "What the fuck is Luke Smith even doing there anymore?"
Yeah, I know.
I have to think that he was intended to be like the leader of the expanded universe for Destiny.
Yeah.
Because it says that he's like the franchise creative director.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe he's still like helping steer where the story goes and whatnot, but it seems like all like the film plans and things like that have all been put on hold.
Yeah.
In lieu of the firings. I think Sony was like, yeah, you're not allowed to do that until you start making money.
Right.
Which, good on you, Sony.
Yeah.
As much as I would have liked to have seen a Destiny anime, I don't know if I'm ever going to get it at this point.
Yeah.
But if Gravity Rush can get a movie, we can get something for Destiny. That's all I'm saying.
Gravity Rush.
God, man, this is.
I liked that game.
I love that game, but clearly nobody else did because it didn't sell worth a damn.
They made a sequel that nobody.
I know they did, which also sold poorly. It is the only game I've ever played that was like, yeah, I would be willing to buy a Vita just for this game. It was that good.
Yeah, and then it came to PS4.
And then it came to PS4, which the PS4 version is noticeably worse.
Yeah. Also, extremely rare, apparently, the physical copy.
Yeah, I had it digitally, so I don't know. God, I don't know what else to say about Joe. Like, you are losing somebody who has been a part of so many treasured memories in Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, clearly, like, just like 3 years of being the game director really burned him out. Because he took over after Beyond Light.
Mm-hmm.
But before the Witch Queen. He took over that February update, I think, is when we first got the February update after Beyond Light. It was the day that Season of the Chosen released, I believe, is when Joe took over as the game director.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it's a little bit of he felt like he got in over his head, or I cannot imagine how stressful being the director of Destiny is. And then you go through a buyout like 10 months later.
Yeah, I mean, even the buyout aside, like you also experience like the highest of highs with the Witch Queen, and then the lowest of lows with Lightfall, right? Like,
well, okay, well, let's I'm gonna stop you. Let's not pretend like I think Lightfall was like you experienced like the middest of mids.
I didn't mean that, but I mean like there was definitely a fallout within the community.
There was for sure.
You know, I didn't mean it's like the worst thing ever. It's definitely just okay. But
I think the lowest of lows. I do think you're right though. I think you experienced the lowest of lows as game director, as studio director, really when September and October rolled around last year.
Mm-hmm.
Community sentiment's at an all-time low. And then you're always going to be known as the guy who was in charge when Michael Salvatore got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people who had been there since before the original Halo got fired, which makes it even more incredible, by the way, that Tyson is still there. Yeah. I've seen some hopes from folks that, hey, maybe because we've got like one of the old Halo PvP guys as the game director, maybe we can get like a renewed focus on that. Because I mean, all things aside, like I think the story is in a pretty solid place. I think PvE is in a pretty solid place, especially with things like the Coil being seasonal events. I think that you've got it. I think they've got a good structure for episodes. We just got to see how it plays out. I'm gonna choose to be a little hopeful. Like they're one of the head designers for Halo 3, who has not been at Bungie for like over 10 years now, Jamie Geisimer, chimed in on Twitter last night, was like, hey, by the way, anyone who's trying to spin this negatively, Tyson's an incredible hire. Like that's an incredible promotion. Like that is somebody that you want, like that players should want running their game. So seeing that definitely like gave me some reassurances. That members of the original Halo trilogy team were chiming in, even who haven't been at Bungie for like 15 years or still 10, 15 years are still like, hey, by the way, this dude's like, he's fucking awesome. He's been kicking ass for a long time and he's still there.
Yeah.
He's been there for over 20 years. He's been there for probably 25 years or so at this point. He's not on social media either, which is like the greatest thing ever, I think, for the director of the game.
Yeah.
Joe even kind of points out, he's like, thank God this guy's not on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, dude, I've seen the abuse that people like Liana got, and I've seen Joe's mentions. I've seen Joe's fucking mentions, and it's not great.
Nope.
So, but yeah, it's a veritable who's who of current and former Bungie employees in the comments of his statements, and are just like, oh my god, like you're a fucking legend.
Yeah. I wonder now how the game is going to shift. You know, that's not that I am like it's going to be bad or anything. I'm just, and I'm not. I
Yeah,
don't want the community out there to think us being like upset or worried that Joe is leaving doesn't mean we don't have faith in
right,
Tyson, right? Like I
right.
think I think if he's been there, he knows how to ship games and crunch, like, and I mean crunch is bad, but like he knows how to get stuff out and get stuff done, and clearly has an eye for PvP, which should excite PvP players probably.
It should excite everybody, because
So
that is such a neglected part of the game. Like, if that's healthy, then the population of the game is healthier.
yeah,
So like even if you're just a PvE guy, you want PvP to be successful, because then that leads to better innovations across the game as a whole.
hmm
So yeah, I think we should have a degree of optimism about this, and I think it's really important that it's someone who has been there from classic Bungie, from old Bungie,
hmm
that's taking over. That is important to me.
yeah,
The biggest thing is, again, it's not an outside hire like Halo did with Halo 5, and
right,
even Infinite. Like, those were outside hires to be the game directors. And we saw what a catastrophe that was. Halo Infinite only gets out the door because Joe Staten comes back to save it, right?
yeah,
So I am very, 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 very interested to see how the game develops. I would personally like to say that I'll keep playing. I've talked a big game for a while now about, oh, the final shape is my exit point. I don't know if I'm going to play episodes. I think I'm just going to take some time off, but I want to know what the plan is for episodes before I do that. Like, am I still going to be able to access this content after the year is up or not?
yeah,
Or after the episode is over, even, am I still going to be able to access my rewards and things like that? Um,
right,
if that were to happen, then I'd be like, great. I feel confident taking like 6 to 12 months off and then coming back with the next expansion and seeing what we got. Part of me does wonder if this could signal, I don't know, just like a complete change in the game direction now too, because
yeah.
um I think I also find it very interesting. I find it very interesting that Tyson is not on the marathon team.
I
That's
know. I
kind of
thought about that
shocking to me.
too.
That's a little shocking to me,
Yeah,
that such a PvP heavy guy is not on that. But I mean, we've talked about it before. Chris Barrett's a great guy to have in charge of over there on that team.
yeah,
About the only reason I have some faith in it. So we'll see how this develops. I expect that that's the other reason why they don't want to show the game until we have a showcase
hmm
in April, is to allow Joe to have time to gracefully exit on his own terms,
yeah,
and let Tyson get kind of situated. By then, you'll be 2 months into the playtest, into the end-to-end test. You'll be bug fixing for real, and maybe because we'll be so close, maybe we'll get a little bit of details about what comes after.
yeah,
Um, about echoes and whatnot, but I suspect that a lot of anything beyond what we're going to see in that first season, I think, is going to be saved for August or September for the 10th anniversary.
yeah,
Um, we'll see, but man, that is
yeah. I
it's a
mean,
blow. It's a blow no matter how you slice it.
yeah. No, I 100% agree. I'm interested to see what Joe does next. Um, to be honest, like
Yeah,
I mean, what's he gonna take on next? That's
I am
interesting.
extremely curious to see where he lands.
Yeah,
Because I think he would be in demand for a number of FPS studios, or like team-based games. I think he would be, and I mean, it doesn't mean he has to stay in shooters. By the way, we've seen guys that have left Bungie go on to go, be some of the creative heads for like Jedi Survivor, and go on to work at Naughty Dog and things like that. I would think that PlayStation probably wants to keep him in the family. Um, it would not surprise me to see him join a studio like Sucker Punch, or even like Sony Bend.
hmm
Wouldn't really not surprise me to do that, or maybe work with one of their partners or something. Maybe he goes and joins Haven. But I think like Sony probably has to see the reaction to him and how beloved he is, and I'm sure that he has a gig lined up already.
Yeah.
But I would think that both Sony and Microsoft are going to be tripping over themselves to try and get this guy on one of their teams.
Yeah. Especially if
Um,
like,
I mean,
especially if,
he's based in Seattle,
yeah,
so
especially, I mean, like, especially if Microsoft is trying to like maybe come up with some sort of new multiplayer plan or game as a service thing for like something like Halo's future, or
yeah.
I mean, I
Let
know
me
they
bounce an
already have
idea
their,
off you. I think him going to Halo would be really cliche. What if he steps in to run the Coalition?
mm, that would be interesting.
Takes on a
See,
new IP at the Coalition, even.
mm-hmm, that would be really interesting.
That I think that would be a really intriguing fit to me, and I don't want to speculate too much on the man's future, but I think that would be a really intriguing fit is if he stepped in there.
Yeah.
I could also see. I know they just did a bunch of layoffs. I could see Riot stepping in and trying to get him. They have gotten a lot of ex Bungie talent over the last year.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be super surprised to see him step in there either. Just like wherever he goes, I feel like we're gonna be like, ah, yeah, that's a natural fit. Like, yeah, that sounds like Joe. So, best of luck to you, Joe. I know you listen every week. Best of luck to you. And as soon as we hear something on where Joe's future is, which I don't expect us to hear about before the final shape comes out, honestly,
Yeah.
I think he's going to take a lot of time and just like he said, he's taking a long break from social media, but you can bet the second he's hired somewhere, that's going to be industry news. So,
Yeah.
maybe even Ubisoft reaches out and tries to get him to come in and salvage like the Division or something.
I mean, they are working on a Division 3. So,
Do you want to move to Stockholm, Joe?
Jesus.
It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful city. I'd move there in a heartbeat. I ever tell you the best burger of my life was in Stockholm, Sweden at a 7-Eleven?
No.
Yeah. The very best burger I've ever had in my entire life was at a lunch counter at 7-Eleven in the back streets of Sweden. It was wild. It was so good. It's the first time I ever had a burger with Thousand Island on it.
What? Isn't that
Yeah.
all Big Macs are?
I don't like Big Macs, so I don't know. But it was like real meat, Corey.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was like a thick thing. It was like thick patties. It was double cheeseburger, thick patties, had some melted Gouda cheese on it, some lettuce, and there was some Thousand Island spread on it. And then I found out that like tons of burger chains do this apparently. Like In-N-Out does it, but this was so much better than an In-N-Out burger. It was so good. It was so good. I went back and bought another one and shoved it in my backpack to take it back on our cruise.
Nice.
16-year-old me had great priorities. I was a fat ass then. I'm a fat ass now. Sammy, I hope we answered your question. Thoughts on Joe Blackburn leaving in the future of the franchise? I hope I can go a week without having to talk about the future of this game. that is my wish, is that I can get from now to April without anything catastrophic happening.
Josh,
so let me tell you, the current is not great.
I feel like that's not going to happen.
I feel like it's not going to happen either. That's asking way too much for me. Oh boy.
Yikes.
Yikers. All right. I am gonna go ahead and jump to another question that we have because I think it's a good place to insert it. Sloppy Toppy Coffee, our good friend Cade6, writes in and goes, "What do you think of the Wish events that launched this week?" They're dog shit. They're terrible. This somehow was below my lowest expectations. It is once per account, by the way. So that makes it even worse. The rewards are not worth it. Saint 14 summed it up best in our Discord. He goes, I am just going to stick to farming Last Wish for my red borders. And you know what? That's an accurate statement because nothing is really worth getting out of there. Unless you were just absolutely determined not to do an LFG to get some red borders. There is nothing worth getting out of this. This is, the mementos are it. Like if you skipped the winter event, which our friend Joe Asos was talking about that. He's like, I didn't get the Dawning memento. This is a great way to go get some of those or some of the Festival of the Lost ones. You have all season to do it too. These quests are so goddamn bad. I am actually in shock at how bad these are.
That's not promising for an event that they promised 2 months of, like in April.
It is genuinely one of the absolute worst things I have ever seen.
Oh
These
no.
these are the 6 quests. Week 1, 3 Rift Generator public events and 30 Dreaming City activities. Week 2, open 7 Ascendant chests. Week 3, 1,600 combatants in Legend or Master Lost sectors. Week 4, do a Tier 3 Blind Well and defeat 1,500 targets in the Blind Well.
Jesus.
Week 5, 80 Taken bosses or Powerek, the Far Seer's heir, which we have no idea who the fuck this guy is.
Jesus.
And that scares me. Why is he worth 80 bosses?
Must be like the equivalent of like a raid boss or something.
Oh, it's a secret Dreaming City boss, apparently. I just did a very quick Google.
Oh.
It's a secret Dreaming City boss.
A secret Dreaming City boss.
That is interesting. I have never, ever seen this thing or heard of it. That's kind of... Oh, I have! That's funny. That's the guy? Okay.
What is it? Wait,
It's a giant taken ogre. That's interesting.
Oh, is it the one that's in the cave?
No, maybe.
I mean, you have to go through a cave to get there. I mean,
Pick up a charge that the Farseer Saboteur drops. Holding the uncharged orb will slow the player and negate the double jump. Players must charge those orbs in a purple pool and bring the orb to a pedestal near one of the statues on one of the tall islands to the east of the map. I have done this one time. I think I have done this one time. I'm gonna say I think I've done this. This dude's been in the game since Forsaken though, and all I know is like even some of the most seasoned players that I know were like, "What the fuck? What is happening here?" So yeah, that's a thing. And then week 6 is do the prophecy dungeon. So something drastically less time consuming than anything else on this list.
right.
This is just terrible. This is terrible. You can only do it once per account. It would I have to say these quests would be even worse if you could do them per character, but it would give like the people who like to grind a lot in the game something to do. Yeah, I was like, well, I guess I'm sitting out wishes because this is terrible. This is genuinely terrible. I'm like, listen, Joe and I talked about this last week. It's one of those things where like we didn't expect much because they had to just kind of throw something together with the assets they already had on hand. But somehow this is like even letting us do this on every character would have been better. Right? Like I can't imagine that you're not. Why would you not let us do this on every character? You got to think this is going to be walked back at some point.
Maybe
because I don't know like what economy are you worried about destroying here? Like if you're grinding this out, you deserve more than what they're offering. I'm going to be totally honest.
Right.
Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. I'm not going to say it doesn't inspire confidence for Into the Light, but it doesn't inspire confidence for Into the Light.
Yeah, it's
I don't want to sound like we're just like griping nonstop, but this is bad.
This I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like anything you just said. So
yeah, nothing I said was appealing. So
it's not like inspiring me to not play other games right now.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: for a game that like I'm looking for reasons to play, this was not it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This seems, man. I was actually like after this weekend, I was like actually like excited to maybe check them out. But if this is what it is, I'm like, man, nope.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I got Prince of Persia to play it at 4K 120 frames a second.
It's bad, but I will say it's funny because it like just took all the wind out of my sails. I have actually been playing a decent amount of Destiny for the last week, while I wait for Persona 3 Reload to come out. And this did not make me want to spend more time. I did this and I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm done. It's rough. It's rough. There's nothing else to say without me talking in circles and saying it's rough another 15 times. So I'm gonna just move on. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad, and you should feel bad about this.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What a mess. What an absolute mess. I also like how the TWAB specifically like dodges this, which is really funny to me. I absolutely thought we would get something in the TWAB about it, and I don't know why I ever thought that, but I was naive and believed that we would see it. It's bad. It's bad.
Sorry, Josh.
God, just I'm gonna go cry. I'm gonna go cry in a corner. This is terrible. This is just, even for my low expectations, this somehow like knocked itself out on the bar. But I guess let's move to some positive news, Corey.
Yeah.
We got a really rad announcement this week for some cosmetics.
Oh my gosh, dude. I've never been so excited for Destiny.
Corey
cosmetics.
Referenced it at the beginning of the episode. We're going to talk about it. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is the latest collaboration in the Last City. We know you're all busy with calibrations, but this Tuesday we announced something new. Ornament sets inspired by Commander Shepard, Garrus Vakarian, and Dr. Liara Sony are coming to Destiny 2 on February the 13th. To celebrate this awesome partnership with BioWare, we also have an exotic Sparrow, Ship, and Ghost available to all players at no cost, as well as a new finisher and an exotic emote at the Eververse, all inspired by the sci-fi universe where Reaper means more than a class item mod. We'll share Morden details very soon, but for now, here's a preview of what's to come. This looks fucking cool.
Dude, this is the best Titan armament they've ever made.
This is the best in the entire game, in the entire series. This is it. The Omni Blade looks phenomenal.
The Omni Blade looks cool. Dude, the Hunter, like the Garrus Hunter armor looks fucking awesome.
It looks
awesome.
less cool in game.
Oh, does it?
You can already preview all the armor sets in game. The mask is just creepy.
Oh, well.
It does look like Garrus's face, but like very mechanical.
Yeah.
Also not a fan of the cloak, but the rest of the armor really dope.
Yeah.
The Liara armor is like a reused set, which is kind of a bummer, but it still looks so fucking cool that I don't really care.
Cool. I think it looks cool.
God, the Commander Shepard. This goes back to my problem that I had with the PlayStation All-Stars collab.
Yeah.
I want N7 armor for all three classes.
Yeah.
That is a huge bummer to me.
Yeah. I don't
want to hear any more whining from Titans. Y'all have now gotten 3 awesome collaboration sets in a row. You got Kratos, you got the Geralt set, and you got this set. They all look fucking awesome. No more complaining.
This is the best set they've ever
No
made.
more complaining. This is absolutely the best. They've gotten better with each one. No more complaining.
I'm talking in the 10 years Destiny's existed. This is the best armor set they've ever made.
Okay, I think you're getting a little carried away, but you have no fashion taste. You have no fashion taste, Corey.
You're right.
I've seen your Titan.
I know. It's been Saint 14 armor for 5 years.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem. There's tons of great Titan sets out there. I digress. This is really cool. The Sparrow is Mako inspired. I was inspecting it. There's like the big wheels are on it in the back.
Yeah.
The ship is clearly the Normandy, and the Ghost is Edie. So this is really cool. I love that they're giving that away because I 100% was prepared to fork out $10 for the Normandy.
Yeah.
And then they came out and said like 5 minutes later, oh, by the way, we're giving it away for free. Yeah. The finisher is an Omni Blade finisher, so I'm absolutely getting that.
Yeah.
You can't preview the emote yet. I really hope the emote is like calibrations. That's what I hope it is. I was trying to think because like Bife was like, oh, Garrus would technically be a Titan. And I'm like, yes and no. Like, obvious, these are the 3 most iconic characters from Mass Effect. Like, well, who do you fucking propose that hunters get then? Like, they're not going to give me Thane Krios armor, okay?
Right.
If we're going to go down the line and, like, not do the main 3, then y'all should be fucking Rex. Titans should just be big amphibian.
I would quit.
I would not. That would be fucking hilarious. Garrus and Rex masks win. I I do think this is a really cool collaboration. This is one that like I think was on all of our wish lists, but we never thought would actually happen. This is the first time I looked at a collaboration and I'm like, damn, this fits.
Yeah,
This
it's
isn't Assassin's Creed.
dude, it's awesome.
It's so cool. This makes so much more sense than like the Ghost of Tsushima armor or the Fortnite. Although I do think the Fortnite set's translated really well into this game. It makes more sense than that. It makes more sense than the Witcher armor, which again, the Witcher armor was kind of cool, but it was only cool because they let everybody be Geralt. That was the reason that the Witcher set was cool. So it's a bummer that I don't get to be Shepard, but I do like this. Like all my bitching about collaborations aside, they finally got me. Also, it's not just because they're giving me like $20 worth of cosmetics for free, but that does help a lot in my opinion.
Josh is like free cosmetics. I like it.
I do because and I like that BioWare in their statement said that it was important to them when they agreed to do this. It was important to them, and they said and Bungie, but I really felt like it was primarily BioWare.
I'm sure.
That it was important for us to make sure that players got something free out of this collab. So I really do like that because I think that you've got 3 armor sets, you've got a finisher, you've got an emote all available to buy. Giving these things away, I think for a collaboration, I think there should always be something free.
Yeah.
And not just an emblem, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I think for The Witcher, it would have been really cool if the finisher had been made free, or the emote or something. I think that would have been really cool. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. I like this. I still have not changed my stance. Jiggly Panda asked a question about us with collaborations. I know y'all keep saying stop with the crossovers, but with them making the bundle free, do you think they should continue with paid armor and free Ghost Sparrow and ship, or switch them up? You're gonna have to switch that up. This works one time. This is a one-time trick.
Yeah.
It's like we've talked about with the events. Like they need to be giving away more stuff for free. Maybe the set that like we all choose gets given away, and then you can buy the other. At the end of the day, making this game is a business, though. Like they're gonna charge for the microtransactions.
Yeah.
I think this is a cool deal now, but it's like for a lot of us that are big Mass Effect fans, it's like, why would I ever take off the Normandy?
Right.
A1 Johnny has already said he's buying this armor and he's never taking it off. He's buying the Commander Shepard armor and never taking it off.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him. That set is going to sell bonkers. Like, I can't imagine that you do a collab like this that looks so good and then go, oh yeah, we're going to give the armor away for free. Like, no, that's not going to happen. Maybe you give like a class item away for free in the future.
Right.
I think that would be cool. And of course, then they always have emblems tied to this stuff and whatnot. But I think if you were going to see anything along those lines, it would have to be a Sony first party thing. At this stage, I don't think that I'm still genuinely shocked that they're giving away 3 things for free. Like, they're not charging for the Normandy. To me, that screams we're doing this as a PR move. Like, I think the Sparrow or the Ghost were probably originally intended to be free, but the Normandy being free is a huge. People would have paid for that.
Oh yeah,
I would have paid for that so fast. I don't know if I'm going to buy the Garrus armor right away. I'm trying to watch money, and I'm trying not to spend money in Destiny currently. But giving away the Normandy is a pretty big PR move for me. That's a break glass in case of emergency thing that you're doing. And then, later on that day, Joe Blackburn announces he's leaving, by the way. So
look over here.
Yeah, in case you want to know how that went. So
spoilers, not how you wanted.
Spoilers, everybody's going to be sad, even though we got the Mass Effect announcement earlier in the day.
Oh my gosh, dude. It looks so good.
Or whatever it was.
Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good.
It really does look good. That's a great ship. I really, really like it. So
I don't think I remember what the Witcher armor looks like.
It looks like Geralt. It looks good.
Let's see. Preview. Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah. So that would be my takeaway here. My stance is still going to be stop with the crossovers. We've had so many of them in the last, year and a half since we got the Fortnite one. We've had Fortnite, we've had Assassin's Creed, we've had The Witcher, we've had the PlayStation various properties, and now we're having Mass Effect. Mass Effect is the only one that really fits with this universe, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh
Not
yeah.
saying that the Geralt stuff is not cool. I think it's really cool. I think it's really well designed. I tend to think that these collabs are really well designed, but this actually fits because it's a big sci-fi franchise.
Yeah.
So I like this. I don't want to see us get out of hand with them.
Yeah.
To me, the magic of Destiny is in the way that you can make your guardian look, and I don't want this to be like Fortnite where I'm running. I'm gonna go, oh look, hey, it's Garrus in the tower, and he's with Geralt, and with the drift skin from Fortnite. Like,
Mm.
oh, is that Ezio over there? Like, I don't wanna be saying things like that. I want to be like, damn, I think it's really cool that they took like the Mass Effect gauntlets and used them to augment their Titan look.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So they made their Titan look like really futuristic while wearing like, I don't know, like Iron Lord sets or something. Like there are cool things you can do with these sets without having to wear the whole thing. Like I love the Aloy helmet. I just don't want the rest of the set.
Yeah.
Um so there are things to like mix and match, but it comes down to people are going to wear the whole set and be like, look at my fashion. Like, no, you paid $15, 15, $20 and then just equip the whole set. That's not fashion. That's called you have money.
Good job.
Yeah, so not huge on it, but yeah, definitely getting three things for free is always going to be a win.
Yeah.
We'll always take that. Um, moving on along through this TWAB, we kind of unintentionally went in order. Do, 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 do.
It's a great
Do,
song.
do, 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 do,
I feel like
do,
Josh has been
do.
playing Mario Wonder.
I have not, but I tried to buy it today and forgot my credit card at home.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, whose
I'll
fault's
save
that?
that for we'll circle back around to that. There's some Fire Team Finder stuff here. Not really jumping into it anymore. Just continue using it if you're using it. There's some numbers here, some completion rates and completion times. The kind of median completion time. Some of these are really funny. As I'm looking at Guard of Salvation, 48 minutes for the raid, whereas like Root of Nightmares is 60 and Deep Stone is 42 or 52.
What? Those are
Um,
the easiest ones.
I think that's why is because it's a lot of new people learning.
Maybe.
Last Wish has a 24% completion by comparison and is 60 minutes. King's Fall 66. Vow to Disciple 24%, 49 minutes, and then the dungeons are also very similar. I find it funny that Grasp of Avarice has the lowest completion rate at 50%, but Ghost of the Deep and Warlord's Ruin are both sitting at 64 minutes. And I like to place the blame for Warlord's Ruin on the jail cell puzzle
Mhm.
and the second encounter for causing people to take forever. The others about what you expect. Let's see. Double the Uzum next week. The Uzum RR4 Sniper is going to be back, and it's going to be double double Nightfall rewards next week. If you somehow don't have this, cool. There are probably better snipers to go get, but this is a really solid one. Just in the era of craftable snipers, it's harder to argue for this one, but Snapshot Incandescent is kind of sick. So that's there. Um, Relic is back. Increased shard drop rates in the coil. I like this. I wanted to read this because I think this is really funny. The first few days of the coil, we saw platinum success rates of around 35 to 50%, which were a bit lower than we expected. We also announced plans to make the activity a bit more forgiving for players to reach platinum in the future. By the end of the second week, we were already seeing 70 to 85% of all successful completions were reaching platinum as players got better at tackling the activity. On top of that, roughly half of those teams didn't even kill the glass collector to reach their score. These numbers have held steady throughout the season so far, but we're here to give everyone else a little nudge. Even with these high numbers in mind, we want to make sure players are getting their hands on all the sweet loot waiting for them at the end of a platinum run. Starting on February the 6th, we will be increasing Wishing Glass shard drop rates from defeating enemies in the coil to make hitting platinum even more achievable. Good luck out there. That's good. A lot of us have a lot of triumphs to go finish for the seal that involve the coil, specifically getting those level tier or those tier 2 and 3 bonuses applied. So this is really cool to know, or even just like buy some extra lives if you really need them going in the final round.
Mhm.
There's a Geralt sword emblem that you can go claim. The code is here for you. 9FYKDDPRT.
Neat.
Neat additions to the cutscenes collection. We're adding stuff from Season of the Forge, Drifter, Beyond Light, and Season of the Witch to YouTube. Again, all of this should be in the game, and it's a fucking shame that it's not. The very last Prime Gaming bundle is available starting today, which comes with the Vehement Flock exotic emote, the Knuckleberg exotic ship, a purple sparrow, and a timed Prime exclusive legendary shader. This is the final Prime Gaming bundle for the foreseeable future, as they say. I would guess it's probably the final one, period.
Yeah.
I don't think Sony really wants to keep that going, and it probably cost them a not insignificant amount of money to do it.
Oh, I'm sure.
For not a lot of, I don't know, like, benefit.
Yeah.
So that is coming to an end, but God, 4 years of this. I'll say it probably stopped being worth it once they were no longer giving out the exotic ornaments.
Yeah.
But getting some of the emotes, and especially as they threw in some shaders and stuff, was really cool. I did enjoy seeing all that. So there's a final note here at the bottom of the Schwab, Corey. We've got a lot to talk about in the coming weeks. Okay, press F to doubt. Want a sneak peek? Rewards refresh. So I wonder what is going to get the maybe they change up the Nightfall loot pool or something.
Maybe.
Or like the Iron Banner one midway through the season, since we've got another 3.5 months to go.
Yeah.
God, what a mess. What a fucking mess this is.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez Louise. Like any of us are too thrilled about this right now, frankly.
I feel like they're just grasping at straws right now, man.
I mean, we said that they were going to have to do stuff like this. They were going to have to refresh some things. They were going to have to offer some double XP weeks. Like, you basically need to probably have permanent double XP and double rewards on for the rest of the season at this point.
Yeah.
I would argue that you need to, hand out red borders like crazy from past seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Just reprogram those into the game anyways, and we'll see. But, yeah. Moving on. Corey, we've got some questions. We got some good discussion questions here. Let's get to those before
questions.
We're going to go back to. We're going to do a lore corner. We haven't done one of those in a while, but I've got some lore corners for us tonight. As a reminder, we take questions in the Discord every week, but especially this week, get in any of your loadout questions because we're going to have our Tower Gunsmith with us next week, A1 Johnny, since Corey is going on vacation and leaving me here.
Yep. Sorry, Josh. I'm going to be next Thursday. I'm going to be eating some Earl.
That's fine. You missed Joe and I's in-depth conversation about bagels last week, so
I've been on a bagel sandwich. Sorry, I'm gonna send you some Earl sandwich pictures in Discord. Wow.
I hope you're marking them not safe for work.
I'm gonna put them in the questions thread, so you have to look at them while you read questions.
Did you hear that they're? I'll just delete them. I have mod privileges. Did you see that? Disneyland is getting a 2-story Earl of sandwich.
What?
I feel like that's like the holy grail when we have to go visit it.
It's like the Mecca.
Yeah, I feel like we need to go and like podcast live from the second floor.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd let us do it for episode 200?
Maybe.
I don't think it'll be open by then.
Yeah. You know what we should do though for real is do it for our final episode, whenever that is.
That's true. We should. I really feel like we should find an Earl and us and Nerds get together to do a final episode.
Yeah.
All right, so we've already addressed a couple questions just through the course of conversation tonight. Jiggly Panda writes in, thoughts on Elon Musk going to try Destiny? Possible Tesla crossover, question mark? God, stay the fuck away from my game.
Maybe we can buy a cosmetic that's a SpaceX spaceship and it'll blow up when we go to land on a planet.
That actually would be really funny. I would laugh hysterically if that happened.
Maybe the transmat is just a big explosion.
Yeah, we're laughing at you, not with you. In all seriousness, though, like, please, Elon Musk, please stay the fuck away. Please stay away. We don't want the game to go bankrupt yet. No, stay away. Leave. Leave. We don't need you commentating on my place of sometimes zen and peace. Although I'm not gonna lie, if I saw somebody named Elon Musk in the Crucible and I killed them, I would teabag the ever loving shit out of their ghost. 100%. Since you weren't here last week, Corey, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Suicide Squad game. Have you seen any reviews or gameplay, and will you be playing it?
I have zero thoughts on the Suicide Squad game, and I will not be playing it. Sorry.
I have more thoughts after people have gotten to play it. This thing looks abysmal.
I mean,
who is paying money for this game?
If this was like a single player like experience,
Nope.
like Arkham, maybe, but like, I mean,
Nope.
like, not this style of game, but more of like an Arkham style game, then maybe. But like, I have less than zero interest in Suicide Squad. Like, zero. Sorry. I like Rocksteady as a studio, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Josh, and say this may be their final game if they don't get it together.
So Paris Lilly was saying that on Twitter the other night, and he kind of had to backtrack on that because he speculated in an era or in a month where you've seen like 7,000 people lose their jobs, mind you, in this industry. He was like, well, this game doesn't do. This was his defense for like wanting to get people to buy it. Well, if you don't buy it, then the studio may face closure or mass layoffs. And it's like that is so irresponsible to say. I think like to even speculate about that, like, dude, just why don't you like let the chips fall where they may? Like, I think Rocksteady has more than earned the ability to have one poor game. They put out arguably the best trilogy of superhero games ever. I say arguably because Spider-Man is absolutely coming for that crown if they didn't take it with Spider-Man 2, frankly. Because I consider Miles Morales part of a trilogy. That just three incredible games right there. At what point do you sit there and go, we have to stop with these narratives, but also accept that not everybody wants to play a game as a service? Like, I don't know how you saw how Avengers turned out and did not pivot.
Right. Or pivoted
Because
into this. Wasn't this originally designed to be like a, or no, Rocksteady was doing their own thing, right? And then they made them do the Suicide
Rocksteady was
Squad
doing
thing.
so, yeah, it's been inconclusive on what Rocksteady was actually doing. We
Yeah.
don't actually know. It was not a Superman game. We know that at this point, but that was never a thing.
Yeah.
Jason Schreier's confirmed that, but I don't know who this game is for. I think they're trying to capture the audience that Destiny and the Division have had, but like there's a reason why Destiny has the staying power. That's because Destiny has, they've got the raids, they've got the PvP, they've got the character work, like they've got the story going, like they've got a fan base that just hates themselves.
Yeah.
Face it, we all do, but you look at this and you go, I just nothing about this seems appealing to me. The UI seems very cluttered. The movement does not seem fun. I've heard a lot of people say the beginning of the game is fun. Greg Miller, super DC fanboy, by the way, was talking about this the other day on his show, and he says, I walked into, he's like, I'm in the Daily Planet, and I'm walking around. He's like, the attention to detail is so good. It's so good in there. He's like, and then I leave there, and it's just soulless.
Yeah.
That was his one word review of this game, is soulless. And for Greg Miller to say that, somebody who famously played a lot of Avengers and loves games like The Division and Diablo 4 and things like that, games that maybe aren't the greatest when they launch, that have seasonal structure and like games as a service tendencies, for him to say that about this is pretty bad. I was trying to say that I was saying this to a friend the other day. I was like, I want a Justice League game from Rocksteady. I don't want a Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Like, people are upset about reviewers not liking some of the specific plot points in it. And like, I've seen a lot of Rockstar, understandably, like a lot of Rockstar devs are coming out to defend it. And they're being like, well, you just don't understand the story we were trying to tell. And it's like, no, we do understand. We just don't like it. We think it's shit. Like they're saying it nicely. They're like, yeah, this is a pretty bad plot point. Like, that's better than how I just phrased it. But you can have a bad plot point and still acknowledge that, like, we saw what your intention was. We just didn't like it. Nobody liked it. Even playing as the Suicide Squad, you don't like that. So not a huge fan of what I've seen. Nothing that I have seen about this inspires me to pick this up for anything more than maybe $10. This is going to be in the bargain bin by June, and I plan on picking it up then.
I'm more interested in playing Gotham Knights than this, to be honest.
I'm not interested in Gotham Knights at all, and I'll say the same thing.
So, uh,
I'm yeah, that says a lot. I was not interested in Gotham Knights, and I'd still rather play that than this.
yeah.
It's
But
it's a shame that this is Kevin Conroy's final appearance as Batman. This fucking game is his final appearance.
yeah,
That just grinds my gears to no end.
yeah.
The DLC looks bad also.
The
Joker
Joker. Oh my gosh,
Joker
I thought it was a
misses
joke.
freeze. Nope. Joker misses. Do we already have gameplay for Joker?
No, I mean
Joker.
I know it's real, but when I first saw it, I thought it was a
Yeah, I did
joke.
too. Joker misses freeze. And Deathstroke.
Great.
Also, sorry, Deathstroke is he's not a Justice League villain. He's a Teen Titans villain. Everybody's been starting this retcon of, oh well, he's actually a Batman villain. No, not really. He's a Teen Titans villain. He beefs with adolescents. Slade Wilson is like kind of a dick. He beefs with a bunch of teenagers. If anything, he's like a Robin and Nightwing villain. He's just recently been thrown into a lot of Batman shit in like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Anyways, nothing will get me to buy this. Nothing makes me want to touch this game with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. Tiger Jesus asks, what would be the worst raid to have friendly fire on? It's got to be Vow of the Disciple.
Yeah.
Because everybody is just gathered around Rolk shooting at him. It's got to be Vow of the Disciple.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be rough. That would be
like I'm struggling to think of another raid that would be as bad, and because most of them like, oh, we're moving as a group doing DPS in a certain direction. That one, like, you're all kind of scattered so that he can't just one shot you as a group.
mm-hmm.
So that's got to be the one.
Yeah, I don't really know what other one would it be, honestly. I really don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to do some math in my head. Valkalor would have been one. Spire of Stars, that would be another one, because we would all just gather around and beat the shit out of him with swords.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
Maybe Oryx. Everybody's standing along I-35 shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Technically, Crota could be a pretty bad one.
Yeah, I guess.
You're grouped up in a thing, swinging chainsaw swords at him. I've seen the way that some of y'all have swung those swords. I wouldn't want you in there with friendly fire on. Mm-hmm. Getting launched in the walls by you instead of Crota. But yeah, my pick is Vow of the Disciple.
Yeah, I think Val is the easy choice. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, even the totem thing, right? I mean, the first encounter.
That first encounter is rough. Hail Hydra writes in, how do you still find time to game as an adult with your own space? Oh boy, I think Corey and I have two drastically different answers for this.
God, I wait till everybody goes to bed and stay up way too late, and then
so Corey, answer this from the perspective of a father. How do you have time to do this as being a father, running 2 podcast networks, and doing like a bajillion shows a week?
Well,
that's the trick. He doesn't play the games.
Well, I play. So I try to limit myself during the week to the podcasting stuff, and then I'll play on the weekends.
Yeah,
like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll try to play, right? And it also helps that, like, yes, I do a lot of podcasts, but I usually record 2 in a day. So, like, Boss Rush and After Dark record on the same night, right? Mm-hmm. And Pow Block and Expansion Pass record on the same night, right? So, and so the only shows that aren't recorded on the same night are this and Xbox Casuals, right? And so I try to really limit myself to that. Mm-hmm. Not doing the weekend thing. But yeah, I mean, I try to play games when I can. I play a lot of Switch, honestly, these days. And then I'll play my console when my wife goes to bed at night after we are hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah, for me, I get a lot of my game time in on nights when my partner works. Uh, she works nights 3-4 nights a week, so I usually take those nights to game, and then she's typically I'm very lucky with how much time I can spend gaming at night, because the night before she goes to work, she's usually sleeping in the evening, and then I wake her up so we can spend a little bit of time together before I go to bed. Um, and then the day after she's been at work, she usually sleeps pretty late. Like she worked last night, for instance, and she had some appointments this morning, so she didn't get to bed until like 1 p.m. as opposed to 8:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna let her sleep until like probably close to midnight, and then wake her up for some dinner. But yeah, I do a lot of my gaming in the evenings. I'm also like I can kind of like do whatever, because if I have contract work to do, then I get that done whenever I need to, and so if I want to like not work during the day one day, and I want to like game while she's asleep for some single player stuff, and then I'm gonna work at night while she's at work, when it's like totally empty in the house and I have nothing else to distract me, then I'll do that. um but yeah, it's for me, it's like this last year has been like really weird for me, because like I'm like not suddenly gonna get called away. I don't have as nearly as many responsibilities as I used to have when I took care of my mom. So it's been very strange having all these mega single player games come out, and like having actually time to do them, unlike most of my friends.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting, and like I know that's going to shift as I go back to working full time. Um, that's going to make those evenings that I have open even more important. Like it's like, oh, right now it's like no big deal. Like, oh, I want to stay up a little bit late playing a game because I'm at home alone. Fine.
Hmm.
But like she's got a birthday this weekend. Her birthday lines up with a Persona release, so it's like, ah, yes, I'm spending time with my partner, but she's got like a whole week off next week. And like, honey, I'm playing a lot of video games next week. I'm sorry. I've got a 100-hour JRPG about depressed high school kids that I gotta play.
About depressed high school kids.
They summon their personas
Oh,
by putting a gun to their heads, for God's sake.
I know. That's like
It's
maybe not not the best thing to promote when
it's like it's
uh
like the least depressing thing about that game. It's actually Persona 3 is actually a very bright and hopeful game. Ultimately, like there's a lot of depressing shit in it, but it is a story ultimately of like hope and redemption, like all the Persona games. Um, Hydra also asks us if Destiny had goofy Easter eggs skulls like Halo, what would you want added, i.e., giant heads and meme modifiers? Um, I
we
mean, we
need
kind of got that
confetti.
with the we got we got the sweaty confetti.
Yeah.
We got the grunt birthday party back. You would have to have something along that line.
Yeah.
Um, I would love to see like screeb explosions turned on. Like anytime you headshot something, it just blows up like a screeb.
God.
I think that would be really funny. Big heads for like I think big heads for the Cabal would be big head, tiny body for Cabal would be really funny. See them like little tiny jetpacks, but it's like just this big ass head flying around.
Oh my
Um,
god.
I don't know.
DK mode.
Like low gravity mode would be really funny to see in this game.
Yeah. That'd
Kind
be
kind of like the Deep Stone Crypt moonwalk.
yeah. That'd be cool.
Which well, I don't think you have gravity like that. Just the audio changes. I think changing the gravity would be really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
That'd be cool.
I'd like to see that. I'd love like maybe like every bullet that you fire is like incendiary or shock damage. Would be funny to see.
Bring back 007 paintball mode.
Bring back 007 paintball mode.
I
Oh
remember
man.
I remember that's how I convinced my mom back in the day to let me play GoldenEye because I told her
Right.
there was a paintball mode and you can turn every character into Donkey Kong.
The only shooters I could buy when I was like 7 were because I really wanted GoldenEye and I wasn't allowed to get it. And I was like, but you guys let me watch the movie.
I know.
So I bought all the Star Wars games as a kid on N64 and GameCube because that was the only way I could get shooters,
Hmm.
was because it's Star Wars. So they're like, oh, it's not real. Um, yeah. Apparently they didn't want me shooting fictional Russian agents,
Oh,
but they were fine with me murdering millions of stormtroopers.
it's- hey,
If
it
it
is
had the
what it
trench run in it, it could be bought in my house.
is. Every Star Wars game in the like
Every
late
Star
'90s,
Wars
early
game
2000s.
ever in the late 90s, yeah. Rogue Squadron was definitely a favorite at my house.
Yep,
Um,
man, Rogue Squadron 2 is so good.
oh man, so good. Rogue Squadron 2. I still have it. Still have it to this day. Love it.
I do too. 3, not so much.
3, not so. 3 is bad. Remember the on foot segments?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he says. Um, I mean, I'd love to see a mod that like turns all swords into lightsabers. That would be pretty funny to see too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Because we have some ridiculous hilts, and just to see like a little lightsaber blade coming out of it would be kind of cool. Yeah, you have like lament out, and it's just like this tiny blade. It's like this tiny lightsaber coming out
Yeah.
instead.
Where's that collaboration?
Oh God,
The Star Wars.
hopefully never seeing the light of day. Nobody would ever be satisfied with what their class got.
They would all be bounty hunters, I think, at this point. A warlock, I guess, would get a Jedi robe.
See, but that's the thing. Like everybody wants Jedi robes. All I'm saying is, if I'm a hunter, I better have a Kylo Ren set because the cloak would actually work then.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we already said no more collabs. I don't want any fucking collaborations in this game from Star Wars. Don't make me like this game. I do a podcast on it every week. Don't make me like it. This is hate. This is hate playing right now.
Hate playing.
I'm kidding. Corey, let's take a trip somewhere that we've been neglecting for quite some time.
Trips.
We're going to take a trip to the lore corner.
Oh, that was our last question?
That was our last question. Yeah. I did not realize that like the last couple were John messing with me and no, we have one more. I'm so sorry. We have one more that was outside the thread because Aaron can't be bothered to post it in the thread.
Gosh, Aaron.
Destiny related question. What is your favorite Ascendant challenge? None.
0. Pass.
I'm kidding. I actually like low-key kind of like the one where you're being chased around by the night because it makes me remember Festival of the Lost from a few years ago and how much I hated that. I kind of like that Ascendant challenge a little bit.
You just
I'll be honest, I haven't done Ascendant challenges in like 4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember a lot of them.
Yeah, I think the last time I did it was like maybe when the show started.
I have not done I've done one
before that. I have no idea.
I have done one since this show started, and it was because it was mandated to be done, I think, as part of the seasonal quest line. So I had to do it. The one up in Gardens of Elsaya, which is it's the only reason why I picked it, is because it's the only one I remember. Yeah, the Ascendant challenges suck though. It's also really kind of hard for me to see in the Ascendant plane with my eyes. So, granted, I play on a big ass screen, which helps. But the white and black contrast in the Ascendant plane has started to bother me more and more the last couple of years.
Yeah.
To the point where I actively root for us not to go there anymore in core story stuff. Non-Destiny questions. Favorite pizza toppings?
Oh man, I'm a pepperoni guy, man.
Yeah, Corey's basic. I like a good pepperoni pizza. Don't get me wrong.
I also like bacon and jalapeno.
I will put almost anything on my pizza. I'm going to be honest. I do. The only thing I truly do not like on pizza is mushrooms. Mushrooms are disgusting.
That is true.
I like the flavor. I like cooking with mushrooms and then picking them out. I like the flavor that you can get from cooking with a good mushroom, but I don't actually like eating them. I like bell peppers, sausage, pepperoni. I'm a huge olive guy. If I could like drown my sandwiches and my pizzas in olives, I would do it. I'm pretty sure that's a war crime though, because my girlfriend would never, ever, ever eat pizza if I did that. She only likes like sausage and pepperoni on hers. Whereas I'm like, oh man, load me up with the ham and pineapple. Let's go. Let's give me some Hawaiian pizza. I love it, man. I love it. Love it. I like the sweet and salty contrast there. So good. How do you dress up your burgers? Is Aaron's last question.
Oh man. Jeez. I like grilled onions and mayonnaise and cheese.
I love mayonnaise on a burger.
But unmelted cheese.
Yes.
Also I do like mustard with my mayonnaise with burgers. Although
I hate mustard.
My taste for mustard has waned over the years. I used to love mustard. I put mustard on everything. And then at some point I was just like, nah.
I occasionally will like, and it has to be on like It has to be on like a hot dog or something. I'll occasionally like fuck with some spicy brown mustard, but like very rarely. Very rarely. I like honey mustard. If it's a good honey mustard, I like it. But when I make a burger, Corey, I like to have cheese on there. I don't really have a particular kind of cheese because like any cheese on a burger is good. I've been rolling with Gouda and Colby Jack lately when I make burgers.
Hmm.
I like those. You got to get some lettuce on there. You got to put a little bit of mayo and a little bit of barbecue sauce.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then I think you're good to go. I also really like putting French fries on my burger. I've done that since I was a kid, and I still love doing it now as a grown ass man. I am the guy who goes to McDonald's and orders a double cheeseburger and McChicken, and I put them together with French fries on them.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that still. I love putting some Chick-fil-A sauce on it.
Chick-fil-A sauce, man.
Chick-fil-A sauce, it's really good. You can buy it in the grocery aisle now.
I know. It's very exciting.
I enjoy it.
It's not the same.
I like any kind of sauce you can put on a burger. I really like, except for like mustard and ketchup. It's like, okay, that's boring. I put ketchup on my burger a lot, but I like to put barbecue sauce. I love putting buffalo sauce on a burger, like having that spicy kick. Something that is underrated. We just went over my love of pineapple. I love putting a pineapple ring on my burger.
Interesting.
I had it once. It was called an Aloha burger.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen on a burger, Josh?
Olives. And that's because I put them on there.
Oh. I think I can one up you.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen on a burger, Corey?
Well, when I worked at the restaurant, we had a regular come in every Thursday. He came in, or when, I don't know, Thursday. He would ask for a plain burger with a side of our Chipotle mayonnaise, which I was like, okay, cool.
Fair.
He asked us to put peanut butter on his burger.
Okay, so this is not as weird as you might think. I've actually seen that a couple of times. There are places that I've explicitly seen sell it. I've never seen somebody actually order it, but like Sonic does a peanut butter and jelly burger now. And that just, to me, that sounds completely disgusting. Because it's the burger. It's got like cheese on it.
Yeah.
And it's got peanut butter and jelly. And that is disgusting. I will eat a lot of things. I will not eat that. That's like too far even for me. I've eaten some weird shit in my life. I've had sauerkraut on my burgers, which is disgusting, by the way, because sauerkraut's disgusting. I have had like cooked sausage on my burger. I have put every kind of fry shape imaginable on it. I have put some questionable condiments on there. I have had sweet relish on my burger, which is also disgusting. You would not catch me dead trying that. That is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I will, well, no, because that's a positive thing. I was going to say, I'll dip it in a Wendy's Frosty before I do that, but, I actually like doing that, so. That's probably my weirdest thing. Slapping some Frosty on a burger and then eating it. Hey, if you're not dunking your fries into a Frosty, did you ever really live?
What are you doing?
It's great.
Man.
Now that everybody's sufficiently disturbed by what I do to my burgers.
Man, dude, I'm so excited to eat just trash food next week. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. I'm so jealous of some of the trash food you're going to get to eat too.
Dude,
I really could go for a Dole Whip right now.
Dude, I've been living off chicken and vegetables and eggs since July. I need some trash food in my life. But then I'm just afraid that I'm going to live on the toilet.
Probably.
Yeah. Like a spicy chicken waffle's not going to stay in for long. Let's be honest.
Oh my God. I'll talk to you off air.
Okay.
Let's head to the Lore Corner real quick because I'm getting really hungry. I need to go make some dinner.
Lore
Corner, and I'm really gonna hope that we haven't talked about these before.
Guess we'll find out. Someone will let us know.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, we haven't done a Lore Corner since last year, so I don't remember. Scalar Potential. It's the pulse rifle from this season. I'm pretty sure we did this, but we'll find out. This is a conversation between Elsie and Commander Zavala, by the way. Is that everything, Commander? Well, no. There's one more thing. I wanted to ask you about stasis. What it means for you to wield the darkness. I was wondering if you might ask me that. For me, stasis is intimately tied to perception and to time. Time? Yes. Stasis has the power to slow molecular activity, a process that we normally associate with gravity, relativity, and all that. You're talking about time dilation. Exactly. We think of time as steady, but that's only because we experience it from a fixed perspective. When I freeze something with stasis, I'm changing its time frame relative to myself and the world around me. Stasis relies in part on one's perception of reality. Is that why Osiris always emphasizes self control and using darkness? That's his way of framing things. He views stasis as exerting authority over oneself and others. And you don't? In my view, the goal of stasis is not to control the object or even my own mind. It's to change my perspective, to see the object moving at the speed of my thoughts, not the speed of matter. And just seeing it differently is enough? Is that so hard to imagine? It's very similar to how you use void light, manipulating space time and gravitational fields. In fact, I would argue that void has more in common with stasis than it does with solar or arc. Perhaps they're reverse sides of the same coin. And using stasis doesn't worry you, even after everything you've seen? It did. For a long time, I feared using stasis would corrupt me, as I'd seen others corrupted. But after what seemed like 1,000 years trapped in that interminable loop, it gradually dawned on me. The fear was the corruption. As long as fear gripped me, light or darkness made no matter. Once I accepted that, the darkness ceased to be frightening. It was another matter of perspective. Thank you, Elsie. You've given me a lot to think about. For some reason, your explanation makes me more comfortable with the idea. Anytime, Commander, it's all a matter of perspective. This is kind of what we've been like building up to with the darkness powers, because this is very similar to how Strand works. Strand is the manipulation of the flow of time around you, of the flow of life, really, so to speak, instead of really the flow of time. Having stasis explained in this way, I think, also is like, it's a very sci-fi explanation, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a copping out mechanism. Like, oh yeah, you wielded the darkness, but it's not really the darkness. Like, because you didn't let it control you, you're controlling it instead. You're manipulating time just somehow makes sense in this universe. For, we go back and we look at the year that led to Beyond Light, and I think we forget because it was so long ago, but the year that led up to that featured the sundial. And I think if we look at it kind of like the sundial manipulates time as well, but on a grander scale. Stasis is that like on a micro scale.
Yeah.
We're controlling the individual like person or entity in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a really cool explanation for it. And the fact that Elsie comes to that realization on her own through her travels, and that's what causes her to decide, I need to introduce the Guardian, because in this timeline, if I'm guiding him instead of leaving him or her to their own devices, maybe we can all control it and they won't succumb to it this time. If not, I guess it's time to start again. But we don't know how many timelines she interacted with us when she did in Destiny 1. Like, maybe I think this is the first time that she really did determine that we were the crux of it, and then decided to guide us through that scenario. And that's really cool. It's cool that it all loops back to that, and like ultimately like it references as her time loop, but on a very tiny scale. Like, if we think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it kind of goes like her time loop with the Traveler, the sundial, stasis. And that's a really cool way of thinking, because that's how Osiris approached Strand. And even if this is like ultimately a retcon, which it basically is, it's still really cool to think about it that way, that like two people who had every reason to fear the darkness are the ones getting us to embrace a different way of looking at this, like to the point where I don't even think you can really consider them darkness classes anymore, especially Strand.
Mm-hmm.
But rather you're learning how to control the flow around you. You're tapping into that more, and it's a much more sci-fi explanation than, oh, boom boom, I've got a solar pistol, I've got lightning coming out of my fingertips. Like I like the comparison she makes with the void. Like, yeah, this has more in common with the void than anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. Like, if anything, void is almost a darkness power when you put it that way. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool explanation, for, and it almost fits better for those two elements than it does for the other three. The other three really like aren't that explained. It's just like, sci-fi bullshit. This is sci-fi bullshit with an explanation behind it, though, and I really appreciate that. I like that. It shows that, like, I think like the writers are actively thinking about this still, and to me that hints that there is still a third class to come.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've got one more. I am gonna do this one, and
Give
we're
me
gonna go
one
through it.
more.
We're gonna go through it pretty quickly. This is the super cluster. It's the shotgun from this season. We're all connected. I admit this despite the few people I would rather not share a paracausal connection with. Some people, many people. Osiris. Osiris. Strand weaves around Osiris's hands. It dims and brightens, casting green light onto the messy scatter of books and star charts spread across his desk and the surrounding 6 feet of floor. Osiris! What? Osiris lowers his hands. Saint 14 is there, a solid wall of exo in the doorway. Saint crosses his arms. You didn't answer my call. It is crucial that we learn how ley lines operate. I believe they share a connection with Strand. If only I can unlock it. I had to do it though. His handful of Strand extends and loops around him, spiraling towards the ceiling, turning the purple of Saint's ribbons to gray. I am reminded of Nimbus's tale of the river. Strand connects our minds, but what parts of us also touch ley lines? I liked Nimbus in your stories, Saint interjects, mild. We should visit them. In a mood like this, a mild interjection can't stop Osiris. Queen Mara's Techians can't affect matter through ley lines. Their joined will pulls on threads woven through the ascendant plane. Two connected systems, the warp and weft of our universe's fabric. One, a spool of thread for this world, and another perhaps for the ascendant plane? Osiris's strand grows brighter until Saint's massive hand engulfs his own. No master of darkness, Saint takes control with a gleaming void tether as the glow of Strand slowly fades. How long has it been since you've seen the sun? Saint asks. I was experimenting with solar light just the other day. You know this. Not the same. Come, stubbornness is unbecoming. Saint tugs gently at Osiris by their joined hands. Osiris stops in his tracks and snorts. If the question between us is that of hard-headedness, Ikora's going to give them a talking to if Saint's laughter gets through the soundproofing to her office again, so he persists. It is late, and I have not seen you since you set your robe on fire. The work will wait. Osiris lets himself be led out the door, the connection between them still glowing bright. I have to do it every time that Osiris talks about Strand. We're just gonna say it like that every time. Strand, Strand, you must master Strand, Guardian.
He just yells at you.
He just yells at you. That's what I remember from Lifefall. Osiris fucking screaming at me over Strand. I will say when you take this,
Basically telling us we suck.
essentially, like, I can't work with all this pressure. I think that this is kind of innocuous on its own right, but this kind of helps us understand the position that Osiris gets into by the end of the season, because Osiris is all on Team Crow. Like, yeah, we're sending Crow through the fucking portal. I'm here for it. I believe in Crow. Like, I know that my doppelganger really mentored him, but I've kind of taken the guy under my wing since Saladin's disappeared. And, yeah, I really like him. Let's throw him through the portal. And, like, he's like, the Guardian's the obvious choice, but, you know, you guys can talk through space and time. It's kind of essential. And to see him when Mara threatens and tries to kill Riven's Vestige, Osiris launches the Strand tentacles at her and catches her. Yeah. And it's like, oh, Osiris finally mastered it. He can do it. Like, this is the first time we've really seen it in game and not just in the lore. This is so cool to see that Osiris can do it. And it gives him and Elsie the tools to be able to to fight as one of us again, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's so cool that anyone, if they just meditate enough, really could harness the power of these. You really harness these powers, especially Strand. I think Osiris being the smartest guardian of all time, it's understandable how he's able to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just another layer, I think, to him and Saint 14's relationship, but also to his understanding of the universe and of how time moves. We had the story about stasis with Elsie, with the story about Strand here, and how he understands. And this comes into his understanding of how Crow is going to be able to traverse it and how the Techians are going to be able to help us create a bridge to the Pale Heart. And I think that's really cool and really, really important. It's giving everybody their scenarios for the end game, but also Osiris has a renewed purpose. He's so happy that he's the one who went to Neomuna and discovered Strand with us, but that he's been able to harness it. It feels like this is Osiris feeling he has to throw himself into his work, not just to prevent the final shape, but because it allows him to be, he gets to be part of the team again. You know, he's
Yeah.
he's not asleep like he was all last year. You know, this whole year has been him trying to understand the Veil and trying to understand Strand. And now here we are in our darkest hour, and he has figured out how to do it. And that's going to be so crucial for the story moving forward.
Yeah.
I hope they give Osiris a big scene in the final shape of him using Strand. I want to see
Yeah.
him as a Ward Weaver.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be awesome, which means it probably isn't going to happen. All right,
Maybe,
Corey.
maybe
Maybe.
it's not in the final shape, but maybe in that first episode against the Vex, because he's
Oh my
so tied
god.
to time,
Yeah. Man, I just
which
really
would
hope they
be not great. I mean,
let my man retire.
I just, yeah. Anyways,
Get me out of here, Corey.
yeah, it's time to go. I want to thank
It's
everybody.
time to go.
I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals,
Our favorite podcast on the Citadel.
our favorite podcast on the Citadel. You can follow us on social media at Tower Casuals. Join the Discord. Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Where
As
can we
always.
find you?
Twitter at Josh_Finn. I'm still holding it down. It's gonna be a lot of Persona though, guys. A lot of Persona and a lot of grievances with my beloved Dallas Mavericks. 73 points the other night for Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I saw.
It's beautiful.
I saw. You can find me at I am Corey HT on social media stuff. That's it. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.